There comes a moment when you have to ask yourself a question that most people spend their entire lives avoiding. Am I really doing everything I can to become who I'm meant to be? Because deep down, you know whether you're giving your all or just getting by. You know when you're holding back. You know when you're scrolling instead of studying, resting instead of grinding, dreaming instead of doing. And that voice inside your head, the one that keeps whispering that you're made for more, it's not there to annoy you. It's there to remind you that you got unfinished business with your potential. The grind never stops because life never stops testing you. Every day, it's asking you the same question. How bad do you want it? See, people love to talk about success like it's this magical thing that just happens. They see the end result, the money, the status, the lifestyle, but they don't see the blood, the exhaustion, the endless repetition behind closed doors. They don't see the early mornings when it's still dark out, the late nights when your body's screaming to quit, or the moments of doubt when you start wondering if it's even worth it. That's the part nobody claps for, but that's the part that separates the dreamers from the doers. Because the grind doesn't care about your feelings. It doesn't care if you're tired, if you're stressed, or if life is unfair. The grind only respects consistency. Most people quit not because they lack skill, but because they lack stamina. Because they think success is about intensity, but it's really about endurance. Anybody can work hard for a day, a week, or even a month. But the real question is, can you still show up when the excitement is gone? Can you keep fighting when no one's watching? Can you stay locked in when it feels like your effort isn't paying off? That's the mindset that builds champions. That's the mentality that forges greatness. The grind never stops, and neither should your hunger. You got to stop waiting for the perfect time, because there is no perfect time. You'll never feel ready. The opportunity is now in this very moment. The clock is ticking, and every second you spend doubting yourself is another second someone else is grinding to take what you want. Life doesn't reward the hesitant, it rewards the relentless. You don't get what you wish for, you get what you're willing to bleed for. So if you're watching this right now, understand this. The grind is not punishment, it's privilege. It's the opportunity to evolve, to sharpen your edge, to prove to yourself that you got more inside you than the world has ever seen. You got to decide right now that no matter how tired, how broken, how uncertain you feel, you will not stop. Because the grind never stops. And if you want everything you've ever dreamed of, neither can you. The grind doesn't care about your feelings, only your consistency. That sentence alone separates winners from the world. Because the truth is, everybody wants success when they feel motivated. Everybody wants to chase their dreams when they're inspired, when the music's loud, when everything feels possible. But the grind isn't about how you feel. It's about what you do when the feeling is gone. It's about the mornings when you wake up tired, the nights when your body aches, the moments when no one's watching and no one's clapping, and you still show up anyway. That's where the real power is built. That's where the real ones are made. Most people think success is about energy, excitement, and positivity, but that's not what sustains you. Feelings are temporary. Emotions change like weather. One day you're on fire, the next you don't even want to get out of bed. And if your actions are tied to how you feel, you'll never create consistency. You'll never build the momentum it takes to go from good to great. The grind is cold, it's raw. It doesn't reward passion, it rewards persistence. So if you want to win, stop chasing feelings and start chasing consistency. Build routines that don't depend on emotion. Create systems that pull you forward when motivation fades. Remind yourself daily. The grind doesn't care about your mood, it cares about your movement. It doesn't care if you're inspired, it cares if you're committed. The grind only respects those who respect their own word. You've got to become that person who shows up no matter what. Tired, still show up. Stressed, still show up. Not in the mood, still show up. Because every time you do, you're training your mind to understand that quitting is not an option. You're proving to yourself that discipline beats emotion every single time. And one day when the results start showing, when the doors start opening, when people start noticing your work ethic, you'll realize it wasn't luck or talent that got you there. It was consistency. It was the days you didn't feel like it, but still did. And the grind never stops, and neither should you. Because if you stop, the world won't wait for you. Someone hungrier will take your spot. Someone more consistent will learn what you wanted. And when that happens, you'll have to live with the truth. Not that you weren't capable, but that you weren't consistent. Don't let that be your story. Show up. Keep showing up. Because that's what separates the dreamers from the doers. The ones who keep grinding even when the feeling fades. Comfort is the silent killer of dreams. It doesn't destroy you all at once. It takes your potential piece by piece, moment by moment, until you wake up one day realizing you've settled for a life that's far smaller than what you were built for. Comfort is seductive. It whispers in your ear and tells you that you've done enough, that you deserve a break, that you should take it easy for a while. And the moment you start listening, the fire that once burned inside you begins to fade. You stop chasing greatness and start settling for convenience. You stop reaching for more and start convincing yourself that average is okay. But here's the truth. Comfort is a trap. Comfort is a trap. But it's slowly killing everything powerful about you. The people who truly win in life aren't the ones who avoid discomfort. They're the ones who chase it. They understand that growth doesn't come from ease. It comes from resistance. Think about it. Every muscle in your body only gets stronger when it's forced to push against something heavier than it's used to. Your mind works the same way. You only grow when you face what's hard. But most people spend their lives avoiding anything that makes them uncomfortable. The difficult conversation, the tough decision, the hard workout, the long nights of work, the risk of failure. They choose comfort over growth, pleasure over progress, excuses over evolution. And then they wonder why they feel stuck. The world has trained you to love comfort. Everywhere you turn, there's an easier option: fast food, shortcuts, entertainment, instant gratification. We've built a culture that celebrates convenience instead of courage. But the truth is, the easy way never builds strength. The easy path never develops character. If you want to live a life that matters, if you want to make an impact, if you want to be remembered, you've got to get comfortable being uncomfortable. You've got to train your mind to find peace inside chaos, to find strength inside struggle, because comfort will keep you average, and average never changes the world. When you live in comfort, you stop challenging yourself. You stop learning. You stop evolving. You stop evolving. You start telling yourself lies like, I'm happy where I am, when deep down you know you've settled. That's what comfort does. It numbs your hunger. It silences your ambition. It convinces you that mediocrity is success. But greatness was never meant to be easy. The people who achieve extraordinary things didn't get there by playing it safe. They got there by pushing through pain, by walking into uncertainty, by doing what others refuse to do. They understood something most people don't. Comfort feels good now, but regret will hurt forever. Every dream requires a price, and comfort is the first thing you gotta sacrifice. You can't have both comfort and growth. One has to die for the other to live. When you choose comfort, you're choosing stagnation. When you choose struggle, you're choosing transformation. And that's the difference between the ones who make it and the ones who don't. The ones who make it are willing to feel the burn, to endure the pressure, to stay in the fight long after the excitement fades. They understand that comfort might feel safe, but nothing grows in safety. Growth lives in the unknown. Growth lives in pain. Growth lives in that place where you want to quit but decide not to. You can't chase big dreams with a small comfort zone. If you want to build something extraordinary, you've got to be willing to walk into situations that make you uncomfortable, to be the beginner again, to fail in front of people, to risk embarrassment, to risk loss, because that's where power is found. That's where you develop the kind of confidence that can't be shaken. Every time you step out of your comfort zone, you expand your capacity to handle more pressure, more responsibility, more opportunity. You start becoming the kind of person who doesn't run from fear but runs toward it. Most people never reach their potential because they spend their whole life trying to feel good instead of trying to get better. They think happiness comes from avoiding pain, but the truth is, happiness comes from purpose. You feel alive when you're growing. You feel proud when you're progressing. You feel powerful when you're doing things that scared you before. That's the real reward. Not comfort, but conquest. But conquest. But when you conquer something that once intimidated you, you realize that the only thing holding you back was your own fear. And that realization is freedom. You've got to ask yourself, how many opportunities have I missed because I chose comfort? How many times have I stayed quiet when I should have spoken up? How many dreams have I delayed because I didn't want to feel discomfort? Every time you choose comfort, you choose delay. Every time you avoid pain, you avoid progress. And if you keep doing that long enough, you'll end up living a life you never wanted. Not because you weren't capable, but because you weren't willing to get uncomfortable. The truth is, every successful person you admire has a higher tolerance for discomfort than most. They built that muscle over time. They don't flinch at hard work. They don't run from pressure. They don't panic when things get tough. They expect it. They understand that discomfort isn't punishment. It's the path. Every sleepless night, every obstacle, it's all part of the process of becoming someone stronger. That's why they keep grinding when others stop. That's why they win. You got to stop looking at comfort as a reward. Comfort isn't the goal, it's the graveyard of ambition. You weren't built to live an easy life. You were built to grow, to expand, to rise. The grind never stops because growth never stops. And if you want to stay in the game, if you want to reach your highest level, you've got to fall in love with the process, the pain, the pressure, the discipline. That's where the transformation happens. That's where you discover who you really are. So don't chase comfort. Chase growth. Don't run from the hard things, run toward them. Every time you choose discomfort, you're choosing your future. Every time you say a no to ease, you're saying yes to evolution. That's how you separate yourself from the rest. That's how you build a life that means something. Because comfort might keep you safe, but it'll never make you strong. And that's why most people don't stay consistent. They can't handle the monotony. They want results fast, but success doesn't move at your pace. It moves at the pace of your discipline. Every day you stay consistent, you're planting seeds for a future harvest. You don't dig up the soil every day to check if it's growing. You just keep watering it. You trust the process. You trust that your grind is building something even when it's invisible. The greatest athletes, entrepreneurs, and leaders didn't get to the top by doing big things once in a while. They got there by doing small things every day without fail. They mastered the art of showing up. That's the secret no one wants to hear. It's not about intensity, it's about consistency. A few hours of focus every day will always beat a burst of effort followed by weeks of laziness. The grind never stops because growth never stops. And if you stop showing up, your growth dies with it. You've got to realize that being consistent doesn't mean being perfect. You'll have off days. You'll make mistakes. You'll fall behind. But the difference between winners and quitters is that winners don't let inconsistency turn into inactivity. They miss a step, but they don't stop the dance. They fall, but they get back up immediately. That's how you maintain momentum, by never letting failure break your rhythm. Consistency isn't about doing everything right. It's about never giving up on doing it again. If you look back on your life, every major success you've had came from consistency, from showing up when it didn't make sense. You didn't get stronger, smarter, or better overnight. You built it day by day, rep by rep, hour by hour. You stayed when others left. You pushed when others paused. You committed when others complained. That's the difference between a dreamer and a doer. A dreamer talks about what they're going to do. A doer proves it every day through consistency. Your future depends on what you do repeatedly, not what you do occasionally. If you want to change your life, stop waiting for motivation and start mastering consistency. Do it tired. Do it scared. Do it when you don't want to. Because the discipline to stay consistent is what makes you dangerous. When you reach that level where your consistency no longer relies on your emotions, you've already won. You're no longer fighting the world. You're fighting your own limits. So keep showing up, keep pushing, keep grinding. Don't expect the journey to feel good. Expect it to feel worth it. Every day you stay consistent, you're proving that you want it more than the version of you that used to quit. The grind never stops, and neither should you. Because when you're consistent, when you refuse to break the streak, when you keep building even in silence, that's when success starts chasing you. The world begins to move for those who refuse to stop moving. And one day when you look back, you'll realize that every single thing you ever wanted came down to one truth. You stayed consistent when others didn't. Comfort is one of the most dangerous things a human being can fall into. It's silent, it's subtle, and it's seductive. It whispers to you, you've done enough. when you're just getting started. It tells you you deserve a break when you haven't even hit your potential. It gives you permission to stop chasing, to stop grinding, to stop evolving. And the worst part, it disguises itself as peace. But comfort is not peace. It's a slow death. It's the point where growth stops and decay begins. Because the truth is, the moment you get comfortable, you stop growing. And when you stop growing, you start dying mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and even physically. You can't become your best self while living in comfort. The people who reached greatness didn't do it because life was easy. They did it because they kept moving when everything in them wanted to stop. They understood that growth lives in discomfort. That's clarity. When your decisions start aligning with your inner truth, not external pressure. Mental clarity also means mastering emotional control, because emotions, if left unchecked, can cloud your judgment faster than any distraction. Anger, fear, jealousy, they all distort perception. They make small problems look massive and simple decisions feel impossible. A clear mind doesn't eliminate emotion. It filters it. It feels everything, but it doesn't get controlled by it. It observes before it reacts. It pauses before it responds. That's power. Being calm under pressure, grounded under chaos, focused under fire. When you can hold your composure when everything's falling apart, that's when you know your mind is your ally, not your enemy. Most people underestimate how much mental clutter is costing them. It's not just stealing their peace. It's stealing their time, their energy, their potential. Every minute spent overthinking, worrying, or scrolling is a minute you could have used building, growing, healing. Clarity saves you from that. It gives you direction. It turns noise into focus, confusion into purpose, chaos into order. When your mind is clear, you start moving with intention. You stop reacting to life and start creating it. You stop chasing every distraction and start mastering your lane. That's when everything starts aligning. Your thoughts, your energy, your actions. But here's the truth. Mental clarity isn't a one-time achievement. It's a daily discipline. The mind gets dusty just like a window. Every day the world throws dirt on it, stress, negativity, doubt, distraction. And if you don't clean it regularly, your vision becomes blurred. That's why you need mental maintenance, daily reflection, daily boundaries, daily detox. You have to check in with yourself and ask, what's taking my peace today? What's draining my focus? What can I remove? What can I remove? That's how you keep your mental space sacred, by being intentional about what you allow in. Sometimes clarity means walking away from people, not because you hate them, but because you love your peace more. It means unfollowing certain accounts, muting certain voices, stepping away from the noise that feeds your insecurity. You can't hear your purpose if you're constantly surrounded by comparison. Protecting your mental space is not selfish, it's strategic. Because every distraction you eliminate is more energy you reclaim for your growth. Every boundary you set is a declaration of what matters most. When your mind becomes clear, everything around you starts making sense. Decisions become easier. Goals become sharper. You start noticing opportunities that were invisible before because your focus was too scattered to see them. You start trusting yourself more because clarity breeds confidence. You stop needing validation because you know exactly what you stand for. That's the beauty of a clear mind. It brings you back to your power. Clarity doesn't mean life gets easier. It means you get stronger. It doesn't mean the world gets quiet. It means you learn how to move through the noise untouched. It doesn't mean the problems disappear. It means your vision becomes so sharp that you can see solutions faster. That's what mental clarity gives you. Awareness, control, peace, and precision. When you have that, you become unstoppable. Not because you're faster or smarter, but because you're focused. You have to realize that confusion is the enemy of progress. When your mind is foggy, your life stays stagnant. You keep second guessing, overthinking, delaying. But when your mind is clear, you move with conviction. You don't hesitate. You don't doubt. You just act. That's what separates achievers from dreamers. Clarity of mind. Because when you're clear about where you're going, distractions lose their power. You stop chasing everything and start building something. So protect your mental clarity like your life depends on it, because it does. Turn off what doesn't serve you. Walk away from what confuses you. Guard your focus like it's gold, because it is. Every great breakthrough, every great idea, every life-changing transformation begins with a clear mind. The mind that's still enough to hear the whisper of purpose in a world that's screaming for attention. The mind that's focused enough to finish what it starts. The mind that knows peace is power and focus is freedom. When you reach that level of mental clarity, you stop living reactively and start living intentionally. You stop chasing the noise and start leading with silence. That's when your entire life begins to sharpen into alignment and your vision becomes unstoppable. At the end of the day, everything you want comes down to this: how bad you really want it and how long you're willing to stay in the grind for it. Because talk is cheap, hype fades, motivation runs out, but the grind is the truth. It doesn't lie. It doesn't care about your excuses. It doesn't reward your potential. It only respects your consistency. Every time you show up when no one's clapping, when no one's watching, when no one's believing in you, that's where greatness is born. That's where success is forged. Not in comfort, but in repetition, in discipline, and the refusal to quit. The grind never stops, and neither should you. You see, most people start strong, but finish weak. They get excited for a week, then disappear for a month. They let distractions kill their fire. They let tiredness become an excuse, but real ones, the real grinders, they know that the difference between winning and losing isn't talent, it's endurance. It's about showing up when it's hard, when you're drained, when it feels like nobody cares. Because that's the moment the world is testing you. Testing if your desire is real or just something you post about online. Success doesn't come to the most gifted. It comes to the most committed. The ones who keep moving when everyone else slows down. The ones who build when no one's watching. The ones who fall, fail, and rise again without a crowd to cheer them on. So right now, you've got to make a decision. Not just to chase the dream, but to live the grind. To fall in love with the process. To wake up every morning and look in the mirror and say, I'm not done yet. Because as long as you got breath in your lungs, there's still time to push harder, to get better, to go further. You've got to stop waiting for perfect moments and start creating them. You've got to stop wishing for opportunities and start working for them. You've got to stop thinking you have forever. You don't. Every day you waste is a day you'll never get back. The grind never stops, and neither should your effort, your fight. And when it hurts, when you're tired, when you're questioning if it's worth it, remember why you started. Remember the version of yourself that prayed for this chance. Remember the struggle that made you stronger. You've come too far to stop now. The world may not see your work today, but one day they will. And when they do, they'll call it talent, they'll call it luck. But you'll know the truth. It was the grind. It was those lonely nights, those painful mornings, those silent sacrifices that nobody saw. That's what made you. So don't you dare stop now. Don't you dare stop now. Don't you dare slow. Because while everyone else is waiting for motivation, you've already built discipline. While they're resting, you're rising. While they're talking, you're taking action. That's what separates the greats from the average. Consistency in the dark. So keep pushing, keep fighting, keep grinding, keep grinding. Because one day when you look back, you'll realize the grind didn't just build your success. It built you. And that's something no one can ever take away.